Hey, good afternoon, welcome to Northumberland Zoo on YouTube and welcome to the very last leg of this zoo tour. And last week we finished off at the African grey parrots and the serval and the capybara, and this week we are heading to the barn and we're going to be stopping by our very first exhibit here, which happens to be one of our most popular exhibits. And if you have seen our videos on YouTube of Hog Springs Guinea Pig Village, you will know why. So we'll just go in for a quick tour of Hog Springs.
Filming?
Yeah.
Part 5?
Hello. Part 5, I know. So, if you are mad about guinea pigs and you want to take part in a mental day of guinea pig fun, it's Guinea Pig Appreciation Day next week. But sadly, that day is in the middle of the week, which is not much use for anyone. So we're actually going to have a Guinea Pig Appreciation Weekend, and that is on the 20th and the 21st, so the next Saturday and Sunday. And down at the zoo, we're going to be having a guinea pig themed scavenger hunt where we need to find the guinea pig that was naughty. Sheriff Diesel needs to find the guinea pig who has stolen the key to the village. So there's going to be a scavenger hunt around the zoo, which is quite fun. It's quite cryptic. It's like an escape room. And we're going to have some special guinea pig merch. The keepers are going to be doing talks. Gertie's guinea pigs will be down here on the Saturday, kind of telling you everything you need to know about the husbandry and welfare of looking after your very own guinea pigs at home. So we're just walking down Main Street just now. There's a nice little view of the pig inn, and we've got our town hall at the end, the barbers, the bank, the mercantile. We've got the doctors here. We've got the blacksmith and the stables, and on the right hand side there we've got the sheriff's office and of course the saloon. And one of the guinea pig's most favouritest areas in the whole enclosure is over here, which is this lovely little mound which forms the mine. And on top of the mine we've got the church there, and that is opposite the train station. So the guinea pigs at the minute are absolutely loving this area. So if you come to the zoo and it's a nice sunny day, do bear in mind, just because they're in a zoo doesn't mean that they suddenly love all weather. They don't. Just like your guinea pigs at home, these are fair weather friends. They are from South America, naturally. So we let them out on nice days. This is one of the reasons why the pig inn is so large, so that obviously when they do have to be locked in because of poor weather, they've still got plenty of space to hang out in here. Now we have got a group of 20. Morning, kids. Hello. We've got one male called Sheriff Diesel who was castrated, castrating meaning that he can't breed. And then we've got 19 females. And of course they all have Wild West inspired themed names, which you obviously guessed. These guys are, some of them are ex-pets. They've all come from Gertie's Guinea Pig Rescue. So they're not like the friendliest guinea pigs in the entire world, but since they've lived here, they have adapted very well. We've got a couple of guinea pigs. Oh, there's Sheriff Diesel poking his little head out the heart there. You're right, mate, you hiding from the girlies. So some of them require a great deal of upkeep and others just kind of get on with it. We've got all kinds of guinea pigs hiding up here as well. So there we are. There are the residents of Hog Springs. So yes, do join us next weekend on the 20th and 21st for the Guinea Pig Hog Springs Mad Wild West themed weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. Right, there's Hog Springs in a nutshell. So next to Hog Springs, we've got this building. And if you haven't been in here before, you're missing out on a treat. It is what it says on the tin, a tractor museum. And it's not just tractors, it's all kind of, you know, antique farming equipment in here as well. And the lights aren't been switched on yet, it's quite dark. And a little bit of history of the site, but there used to be all kinds of like little bases, military bases kind of around where we are. So the zoo is actually here. So there's loads of like underground bunkers and all kinds of stuff. So there's a little bit more information about that. There's a car, Morris Minor, and some really old tractors, and some even older tractors here. Proper old school Fordsons. If you've just tuned in, we're at the zoo, believe it or not. But at the zoo, obviously connected to kind of our farm animals and stuff, we have lots of tractors, and that all kind of tells the same kind of story of farming and agricultural and everything, and animals, they all go together. So these different tractors, some of them are really, really rare. There's only a handful in the world. For example, this thing right next to me, this is a triple D, which is like two tractors stuck together in the middle with two massive tires and no ditty tires. There's about 40 of these in the world, and that is because they were not very good because it's not very easy to turn them with such big wheels. So it's an incredibly rare beast. And then we've got some really big tractors here as well. All kinds of stuff. If you want to know more about the tractors, then come on down, because there are some bits of signage around here to tell you a bit more. But I appreciate you're here for the animals. So there's the wallabies as we exit the tractor museum. I'm going to go back on ourselves really quickly as we loop back round. There we are. Hog Springs again on our right. So what we're going to do is we're going to head round. This is the barn. The domestics area is on a massive loop. Okay, so it doesn't matter which way you go. You can either go this way, go through the barn, out the back, and it comes back out here by the play area, or you can go at the play area and come around and come back through the barn. So I think because they're cleaning in there at the minute, we'll just go around the other way. We've got a little kiosk here for kind of the nicer weather when we need to feed the people at the play area. This is Adventureland. This is our outdoor play. This was built back in 2017, and it's all like chestnut. But the whole idea of it is to try and get around the entire course without touching the ground. So it's quite a challenge. Still got a bit of wet here. It's rained a lot of these last few days. We've got a little kind of indoor seating area there. Some more coin-operated mini diggers. Swings over there. And we're just entering the farm area now. Now I've just made some signs here recently. We did have these ones on the fence there, but no one seemed to see them. So we made these massive signs, which I know seems a little bit silly, but just bear with me a minute. So please do not pick or feed grass or plants to any of our animals. So anyone who's got horses and donkeys and, you know, kind of equines and stuff like that will totally understand this problem. So when you just hand pick like really fresh grass from the other side of the fence that the animals can't reach because you feel like you're doing them a favor, that grass is like super sugary, and you don't necessarily know what species are in there. You could have got some toxic plants in there and fed them to your donkeys. The next thing, you've got a donkey that's dilapidated, and in some cases it can be fatal. We've got a couple of geriatric ponies and donkeys here who really struggle with their health. We're only allowed to give them access to the grass for a very short period of the day, because if they eat too much it makes them really poorly on their feet, which I know sounds mental, but it's true. So we politely ask is that if you come to the zoo, please do not feed any of the farm animals, because then you won't risk making any of them sick. But we've had some really poorly animals from people just picking wads of stuff and feeding them out. So just bear that in mind when you visit farm parks and places that have animals like this. You know, if they've got a special feed that they're selling or giving out that you can feed the animals, then that's fine. Obviously they're doing that under their discretion, but we don't do any of that. A lot of our animals, like I've said in previous videos, are like legacy animals. They're animals that we've had for a very long time. So like Gemini is like 30 years old, the Gemini the donkey. I know it sounds mental, but it's a thing and it exists. So here we are. This is our goat enclosure, if you hadn't guessed. This is an epic goat enclosure with a goat tower. We built this just last year and it's matured really, really nicely. Hello you, how you doing? We've got pygmy goats and giant goats and all kinds of kind of goats. There's a one on like a little swinging platform there. Hannah, our head keeper, she put all this together and designed this little assault course for them. See, he's looking at the flowers, but not allowed to eat the flowers, okay? So they got this massive goat tower, they've got like this cool swing bridge which is made from fire hose and it moves and stuff. So yeah, the goats have a great time in here. They've got enough grass for themselves in here as well, so we just give them a little bit of hay as a supplement. So you can see there's one pygmy goat over there by the hay rack, but yeah, you don't want to give them too much. Goats will eat forever, they'll eat everything. So down here, I know it looks a bit wild, but this is amazing because it's perfect for our bees. We've got our apiary. So this is the path that goes down into our bee apiary, which is where we've got our beehives. So I'll take you down and show you. It's looking very wild, which is exciting. Very, very wild. So we've got a little shed down here where we store all of our beekeeping kit. And then we've got our apiary down the back there. So we've got about 6 hives at the minute that are active. We've got a team of beekeepers that come in and obviously look after everything, and then they extract the honey and we sell the honey in the gift shop. So we do the honey, but we also do like, we turn the wax into candles as well. So that's all for sale in our gift shop. But we try and leave, I know you think maybe it looks a bit messy, but try and leave a lot of this stuff, because the bees and the pollinators, it's not just about bees, but the pollinators really appreciate having this available. And if you keep mowing it all down and cutting it all down, it's not beneficial to anyone. So we're really good at that. Okay, so this footprint of the zoo is massive. There's obviously not as many like enclosures, but there's a few paddocks. So it takes a little while to get around, but on a nice summer's day, it's lovely. Oh, there's John Deere, our fellow deer stag. You alright, mate? How you doing? How you doing? You alright? Oh dear. So in this paddock is our fallow deer. So we've got John Deere there and some of his females and obviously offspring. There's one little fawn that was born last year or the year before that has absolutely no spots whatsoever. So it's a good one to try and spot when you get here. It's not hard. Then on the left here we've got what's called a quadrant. So it's 4 big square paddocks. This one's obviously empty at the minute. That one at the end's empty as well. We just use these for rotating the farm animals around the grass, so they all have, you know, opportunities to graze on fresh grass. So in here we've got our alpaca boys. You alright, kids? They've all just recently been sheared, so they look a little bit less fluffy than what they normally would. But they're just hanging out in there. They're quite friendly, so feel free to attempt to touch them if they come near you. There's the deer shed, and there's like a bit of a tunnel there, and this leads on to another deer paddock. So again, we swap and change in between the paddocks to make sure that they've actually always got grass. And then if the weather gets particularly bad, having these extra paddocks is super handy so that we can obviously rest paddocks. So yeah, you can hear the pigs over there. The pigs are calling for the keepers, but I can't see a keeper yet. But they're obviously dying of hunger is what's happening. And I'm green, so they probably think I've got the food. So in our paddock, in this paddock here, we've got most of our equine. So they're having the little morning snack. We can go in and say hello, to be fair. You're right, kids. So this is George, who is our tiny ditty miniature donkey. And no, he won't get any bigger, and no, he's not a baby. He is a fully grown, miniature donkey. Yes. Then we've got Wilbur, who is a male donkey in his teens, who consistently looks pregnant, so you can always tell him apart. We've had all kinds of tests and inspections on him, but we can confirm he's not pregnant. But that's just how he is. So he is the dark brown donkey with the white muzzle. Over here we've got our oldest donkey. This is Gemini. And she's one of the very first animals that we got here at the zoo. Sadly, her partner that she came with, Caffrey, passed away last year. Caffrey had cushions, which is another one of those conditions that can be affected by having too much grass and naughty things. You're right, George. George, the tiny miniature donkey, is very protective over his girlfriend, Gemini, even though Gemini is twice the size of him. Over here, this very pretty donkey, this is Trigger. So Trigger and Wilbur, they were actually given as wedding presents to a couple around here somewhere. And obviously the couple were like, whoa, where are we going to put these donkeys? So they've lived here for probably about 10 years now. And yeah, he's the only one that's completely all chocolate brown. This one here is Emma. Emma came to us from Ponderosa. She's probably the least she's definitely a standoffish donkey. A couple of the keepers can work really closely with her, but she's the one that just looks like a typical donkey. She's got beautiful markings. She looks like a giant George. So we got Emma so that the boys would pay less attention to Gemini. They're all castrated, obviously. We can't breed any of them, but obviously Gemini is getting a bit old to having boys messing about with her. Then, last but not least, we've got our little ditty Shetland Ponies. This one is Crumbs, which is one of the first Shetland Ponies that was born here at the zoo, and his dad is right there, Hector. He does look very, very similar. So Hector's got a little bit more brown on him. He's a good boy. Yeah. Good lad. And then over here we've got ditty little Hugo. Now Hugo is the smallest of all of the Shetland ponies, and he's the same age as Hector. And he's a stunning little boy, aren't you? So Hugo and Hector, Gemini and Caffrey, who's now passed away, they were some of our first animals here at the zoo. Over here we got Tuffy, who followed not long after. Tuffy came, I think it was, with an Exmoor pony. Tuffy's dead funny because she's got quite a pronounced underbite. She looks a bit like Diana Ross or something, I've heard some people saying. And then last but not least, we've got the naughtiest one of the bunch. This one is renowned for biting bums, and this is Rusk. So Rusk is a little bit younger than Crumbs. I think she was born a year or two after. And you don't turn your back on her because she likes a bit of chewy bum, don't you? You're very pretty. These guys have got access to both of these paddocks just now, and they'll not stay out for too long because they cannot have too much grass. So this is why they just stuff their faces non-stop, because that's the thing. They will literally just keep eating and eating and eating. They don't know what's good for them, so we have to manage them quite closely. So please don't feed them when you come to the zoo. Right, let's go see these noisy guys. These are our noisiest residents. I'll tell you a little bit about them before we get there, because you'll not be able to hear me. We've got 3 pigs here, and they're like Cooney Cooney crosses. And they're very excited. You alright, guys? Charlie, which is like the big black one. And then this is Winston, the one that looks like a Cooney Cooney. And Louise is the kind of older looking one there. Have they not fed you yet? Oh dear. Oh dear. So they've got 2 paddocks here. They've got this one, which is kind of like a winter paddock, and then they've got a summer paddock as well. This is their house. Then here at the top of the field we have got our polytunnel, where we've been growing all kinds of stuff. And it's looking pretty cool. We're starting a new project up the top there, which I will tell you about in the future, but we're a little bit way off yet. I'll tell you about it when we get a little bit closer. It's an exciting one. It's one of my favorites, but that's all I'm going to say about that. So we've got some more spare paddocks here. I told you it was a bit of a walk, It looks like the keepers are already getting the donkeys and the ponies in. So they've probably had about an hour's of grass, that's it. In these two paddocks actually, we've got the sheep. So we primarily have Valais blacknose sheep now, which seemed like an amazing breed to get because they're super cute. Oh, they're all scared of me. Amazing. So the Valais blacknose are the cute white ones with the black faces. And then the one at the closest to us, this dark one with its funny like V-shaped horns, that's a raka. The one at the very front with the milk mustache is Lammy, and she's our oldest sheep now. She is a Highland Shetland cross. And then we've got this little dude down here, Twinkle. And Twinkle is also a very old mongrel sheep. So primarily Valais blacknose, which are ridiculously cute. However, I did not realise how much maintenance is required with that breed. So a normal sheep, you shear them once a year in like June, and they're no bother. You can just cut straight through the wool. Valais blacknose, because they're so ridiculously fluffy, they have to be sheared twice a year. So they have to be sheared in like March and then again in August or September. And their wool is like this mysterious substance which completely breaks your shears and doesn't cut at all. So these guys have already been sheared this year. Look at that. Yes, look at you. Nightmare. So I thought it would be a really cute idea, but my keepers hate me now. On this side, changing subject, we've got our cows. We've only got 3. You might know them. So Red, who's the big boy, we've had him for about 10 years now. He is an old boy. He's also a big boy. Closest to us is Dozer, who was our premature Highland cow calf that was born. And then in the distance there is Peaches, and they're all growing up and they're all doing really, really well. We don't work in with them. As predicted, a hand-reared bull calf, well, he's a bullock now, so he's castrated, is really quite dangerous, just because any hand-reared animal, as I've said it before, any hand-reared animal is super dangerous because they're not scared of you and they're not wary of you. They're totally confident around you because they're like, we know you, you're dead soft, you fed me. So for that reason, having a giant Highland cow calf or Highland cow come running towards you like you're the squishy thing that they used to sit on is really not a good combination. So for that reason, we completely protected contact with him now, which is really weird because we can actually work in with Peaches, she's no bother, and we can work in with Red. So because he's hand reared, he is the most dangerous animal. But we have this new house that we've set up for them, which is new since last year, specifically for managing these animals. So in here, the keepers are able to completely separate out. So they've locked the cows out already, and that means that they can safely clean this house. And once they've finished, they obviously let the doors in, get the cows in, and then they can lock them in and do the paddock. So it's the best way to manage them if we want to continue to keep them. So opposite the cow house, we've got another paddock here, which we obviously use to move the hoof stock into the quadrant so we don't have to walk them between people. The only 2 animals that we haven't seen yet are Jet and Jazz. So we've got another little holding yard here, and as you go through here,
oh, is it?
That was explosive.
It was. Oh, okay, that's fine. Cool, thank you.
We have got the hay barn. So this is all of our own hay that we grow and cut on site, and we actually feed out as much as we can to the animals, and then we get straw off the local fields as well. Right, so as we come down here, you're coming into the back of the barn and you're heading straight down towards Hog Springs. So in the summer it's quite nice because we don't have a great deal of animals in because it's nice enough for them to be living outside. However, the only 2 animals that are in at the moment are Jet and Jazz. And this is because they are super annoying and because they're like giant puppies, they keep playing with each other, and they're quite rough when they play because they're giant, and they like to bite each other's legs. So sadly, one of them is a little bit lame at the minute, so we don't want to let them outside purely because they don't take into account their lameness, and they still run around and play like absolute twerps. So we have to contain them on box rest so that they don't damage themselves. So one of them is perfectly fine, the other one is injured. But these are our Poitou donkeys, and they are a pain in the neck a lot of the time. They have to be groomed daily, but they look amazing. So for that reason, everybody loves them. And then our last little thing on the right hand side over here are our female alpaca. So we've got Natasha and Scylla, who also look really silly because they've just been sheared. So that's it, guys. You've seen the whole zoo now, over 5 pieces. I really hope that you enjoyed that, and if there was anything in particular that you really enjoyed, or do you have actually a favourite part of the tour, then do let me know in the comments. And of course the next thing to do is that you need to just come down and see it for yourself, but wait for a day when the weather is fair. Today's a good day. You don't want to come on a day when it's too hot, because then the animals are a little bit sluggish. But yeah, wait for a day when it's not raining. And yeah, we hope to see you down here. I hope you enjoyed that video, and don't forget about our Guinea Pig Weekend, which is taking place on the 20th and the 21st. And we'll see you down here for a side-splitting, super fun Hog Springs celebration day. And if you haven't done already, please do remember to subscribe to the Northumberland Zoo channel and like this video. And I shall see you next week.